Good luck.
Yep.
Well, good afternoon. First of all, we wanted to welcome you to what will be the first edition of the D365 Update webcast from Companion, the new company. In today's session, our specialist William and Chris will update you on the latest dynamic news related to, of course, the dynamic world. And as you know, you can ask your questions in the text box at the top right of the screen, and our colleagues will be happy to answer them. So enjoy the event, and William, Chris, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thanks, Ruben. And welcome everybody to the Dynamics 365 Update webcast. And a special warm welcome to everybody who is viewing this webcast later on as an on-demand version, as due to some technical reasons in the switch from QBS to Companion, we have lost some registrations. So sorry for the inconvenience and a special warm welcome to you. Let's get started. My name is William van Voorthuijsen. And for those who don't know me, I'm the partner technology strategist at Companion. More or less everything Business Central related. Happy to serve our Companion partners with. So if you want to contact me, please feel free to do so. Like Ruben already mentioned, two topics. The first one, Business Central, which I will host. And then I will hand it over to Chris with some news around Dynamics 365 and Power Platform in general. So let's get started with the Business Central update. I would love to have a short look at the release wave 1 of this year, highlight some new features, the very fresh news around the partner sandboxes, which are finally available to you as a partner, some other relevant news, and the most important topic of today's session, at least for the Business Central part, is the Universal Code initiative, where I will take you through briefly. So let's get started with the 2022 release wave 1 highlights, where I would like to address some features. So a few new features regarding application. First is the option to consolidate customer and vendor balances. A company that you do business with might be both a customer and a vendor. When that's the case, you can avoid making unnecessary payments or receipts and save on transaction fees, for example, by consolidating the customer and vendor balances. Another nice one is the fixed quantity in product bills of materials. You can now ensure that the consumption of a component is the same, regardless of the scrap of output quantities. Then deferrals posting. The deferrals functionality lets you automatically defer revenue and expenses over a specified schedule and multiple accounting periods, giving accountants more control over when people post deferrals. And now with the new enhancements, you have on the control of in which period deferrals can be posted, and also some new possibilities if you create templates to post deferrals. Great addition for the accountants under us. Then something specifically for projects or the jobs session part in Business Central. The report selection for jobs page lets users specify which report object will be used to print, for example, job quotes. So you have some more control over there. Last one, Business Central, famous because of dimensions, of course. You now have some new options for dimensions on locations. Dimensions are values that categorize entries, so you can track and analyze them on documents, reports, etc. And now you can set default dimensions for a location on the location part. So some great enhancements on the application side with the new release. Next, better with Microsoft 365, which is the Outlook add-in I would like to highlight. And the email inbox often serves as a source of incoming files that initiate workflows, for example, such as PDF invoices for payments, photos of damaged goods, customer requirements in a Word file or a part specification list in Excel. And Business Central now saves you time and switching between Outlook and Business Central, where you're now able to switch or to store attachments from the emails in your Outlook directly to that particular record, for example, the customer record in Business Central. Then switching gears to development. There is a new demo tool and demo data for manufacturing scenarios. So to help partners demonstrate the premium capabilities, manufacturing is the premium license of Business Central. Microsoft is now making the demo tool and demo data available for those manufacturing scenarios. And the demo tool will be available for scenarios in manufacturing as an extension that you can install on any environment. So you need to install the more or less the demo tool and demo data extension to your demo tenant, for example. Coming back to that later with regards to the partner sandboxes. And then a very nice one, the in-client performance profiler. In the new release, Microsoft adds new capabilities to the AL performance profiler. In this release wave, they are going to empower functional developers and or consultants, as well as customer admins and power users to capture a user flow from within the web client and view high-level information on the time spent in the web client. And to give it a little bit more feeling to you, let me show you a short demo. Here you see Business Central with the performance profiler running, and you can simply start the performance profiler, then record a flow or whatever you are doing, and then the performance profiler will give you some information. So for example, in this particular demo environment, we're going to post a sales invoice, and we have on purpose installed an extension with a lot of waiting time. And imagine that being a surprise to the user. You can see what's happening. So let's have a look. So here we see we start the performance profiler, and then, for example, we go to customers, and then the new extension is triggered. I slept for seconds on purpose. So we will see that later in the report. We are going to create a sales invoice. Just enter an item, just a random item, quantity 1, and let's post the sales invoice. Yes, we want to post the invoice, and once the invoice is posted, we stop the performance profiler, which has recorded the steps we've taken, and you see the time spent in the base application and time spent by the stupid wait app, which is the extension with which has been installed on purpose. So you see graphically easy understandable which extension is causing the long waiting time in a certain action in Business Central. So a great tool for consultants, but also admins on the customer sides to have a first investigation or where a problem is caused. Then governance and administration. Two important things. Now allow security administrators to define default permission sets, which means that you can already define the permission sets that if a new user is running Business Central for the first time, so he logs in for the first time, he gets the right permission sets already applied to him. So a smooth, touchless first entrance to Business Central without the need of first getting your permissions right. Secondly is the permission set handling enhancements. With the new release, admin users can leverage the permission sets and group them based on tenants' needs. And you also get some new capabilities to subtract permissions with a permission set scope in this new release. Then onboarding, being a very primary focused on a pillar of Microsoft, is now the context-aware links in the help pane, both from Microsoft and partners. So now you'll be able to serve context-aware links to guidance and learning towards your customers. And the context-aware content will be powered by a new and modern helping, similar to the experience Microsoft is offering. And now partners can use it as well to serve the customers with the right help documentation if they need them. Then reporting, a very nice addition is to use Excel to design layouts for reports. What does it mean? Excel layouts work the same as Word and the RDLC layouts, and they can be edited and saved back into Business Central. And with the Excel layouts, users can now create and edit report layouts simply by using the full palette of capabilities in Excel, such as sliders, charts, and of course pivot tables. So basically you create once a template with the right pivot tables, and once you run that report again, you simply get the new data, and all the pivot tables are immediately updated with the most recent information. Then partner sandboxes. Long awaiting, they are available now. So you as a partner can take advantage of a non-production environment designed specifically for partners to purchase at a discount. And you can help them use them for testing, learning, but of course also delivering end-to-end customer demos of your solutions. Once you use this license, you get 1 production environment and 3 sandboxes. So that's something which could be misinterpreted, because it's called partner sandboxes, but basically you get just a environment, so a production environment plus 3 sandboxes to use for only learning, testing, and demo purposes, so not for production usage. It's of course related to the MPN internal use rights benefits, and you can purchase those SKUs, add more later on, and the SKUs do not expire. Also good to know, it's a premium SKU, so it includes manufacturing and service management as well. And talking about performance, like I said, it's called a sandbox, but actually you get a production environment. It's running on the same service tier as normal customers, so no limited version of a service tier in terms of speed and performance. Accessing the SKU is very simple. Use the link as shown on this slide. It will be shared with you as well. For a $6 per user per month, you get the specific license. And also good to know, this license can be used in a separate dedicated environment you're going to use for demo purposes, for example. But if you already have an environment in use, you can simply assign this specific SKU to your users and use that within your current environment as well. And the minimum purchase amount is 5 users. Another a great new feature is the use secondary read-only database for Power BI reporting. Performance of the whole system is crucial, and this new feature allows Business Central to perform better because the Power BI reports are being refreshed from a read-only replica, so you don't feel any performance hiccups in your production environment just doing your daily operations. It's enabled by default for all new reports, but turned off for existing reports, so you manually have to switch it on for your existing Power BI reports. It's only applicable to BC SaaS, and it comes with the next Power BI desktop update, which is expected for later this month. Then a quick reminder, hopefully already known by all of you for months now, is that the web service access key, so basic authentication for Business Central SaaS, will be depreciated. It will be removed with the new release, so end of March. This won't work anymore. You need to switch to OAuth2, and if you need some more information or help on how to switch, please use the link. Just a quick reminder. Then the Universal Cloud Initiative, very important. What is the Universal Cloud Initiative? To put it very simple, Microsoft would like to create a Business Central SaaS world where every potential customer can get any ISV solution they need to run their Business Central SaaS. So therefore, Microsoft wants every partner with IP or ISV to have their solution available on AppSource as well. It's not that black and white, but the main idea of Microsoft behind it is this could basically partly solve the capacity issue in the channel, because from a partner perspective, if you offer a modern solution available for every type of deployment, so on-prem and SaaS, you spend less time on upgrades and more on new customers, which is of course nice for the partner. And customers, the typical SaaS advantages, always the recent version, connected services, cloud, no more upgrades, etc. And of course, for Microsoft, the piece of the cake is that more capacity at the partner side will lead to more new customers. And that's, of course, one thing Microsoft would like to see. And to push that a bit more, Microsoft is pushing the ISVs to use cloud optimized code. What does that mean? If your code currently is not in extensions or not cloud optimized, you will need to license 2 additional modules to still be able to run that code. And basically, the additional modules you need, you could see them as a fee. Because of you are not having your solutions in extensions or cloud optimized, yet you need to pay a fee. And basically, the customers will get the fee for running your code when it's not in extension or not cloud optimized. And the fees are starting next year. First for the code which is not in extension, and later on, a year later, if you're still using code which is not cloud optimized, so target cloud in coding perspective, you will get a fee. Like I said, the customers will get fees, which can increase up to $250 per full user per year. And the fees will be included on the customer enhancement renewal quote and will be charged annually. And it will be charged by Microsoft to the partner of record. So you as a partner will get the invoice from Microsoft. And then, of course, you should ask yourself the question, am I going to charge those costs to your customers? And I would say you better not, because basically you're pushing your customers away from you. Microsoft is basically informing your customers that you as a partner are serving them old-fashioned solutions. So that's good to understand. So basically the point is you need to take action on this. And the only way to avoid the fees is to ensure that all the code you implemented for that customer on your license are cloud targeted extensions. And this will be technically enforced. So your customers are not able to start sessions running code that modifies the base app or is targeted for on-premise if you have not licensed the required model. Read fees. What does it take for you to get to cloud targeted extension? And we all know first thing is time, and the second thing is developers, more or less capacity. You need the capacity in your organization to SaaSify your solution, so to say. But going to Business Central SaaS, so cloud optimized code, for SaaS, there are some requirements you need to consider. No usage of .NET Interop, no file system, no direct access to SQL. It's of course web client only. No base app source code modifications anymore. Lack of events. Think about printing. And this means you not only have to think about moving your code to AL, but you really need to investigate in Azure for the replacements of your old techniques by the new solutions available in Azure. Think of Azure Functions, Azure Storage, Azure SQL. to replace the old technology you're using, because then you're able to get to the 100% cloud optimized code. So to do that, we as a companion say, okay, you need to free up your time. And of course, we are not the right party to help you directly on the details of your code, but let companion take care of you required chores, like so you can allocate your developers on the SaaSification of your IP to be sure you and your end customers will not get those fees. And free up your time by outsourcing, for example, your upgrades or your extension maintenance or very clear scoped development projects. If you can outsource them to Companion, for example, then you can use your own developers and allocate them on your own internal project to rebuild your IP and make sure that it's cloud optimized in terms of code, so you don't get the fees. If you need guidance on how to overcome the limitations of SaaS or meet the SaaS requirements, how to use Azure, how to scope your projects, etc., we of course are here to help, and please reach out to your PSM. So, Universal Code Initiative in short. Is your solution already on AppSource? Most probably you are fine. It's an extension and the code is cloud optimized. If not, at least it should be an extension before 2023 to avoid fees, and it should be cloud optimized, so targeted cloud in your code before 2024 to make sure you don't get fees. Fees are only applicable for new customers deployed on and existing customers migrated to Business Central with a first registration date after April 1st this year. Basically, this means every new customer or every customer now on NAV whatever, migrating to Business Central SaaS, to Business Central on-prem, not licensed before April 1st, then they will get the fees in the end if you're still not meeting the requirements. The customers will get notified by Microsoft, like I mentioned, Microsoft basically telling them that they are served by you an old-fashioned version of the solution. Also good to know, Microsoft says explicitly that they want behavioral change. Ideally, in the ideal world, Microsoft is not going to get any revenue from this initiative, because Microsoft is hoping that every partner and every ISV is having cloud optimized code and extensions for all their solutions before those dates that the fees will start. If you're in a hurry, and we are all in a hurry because of the capacity issue, start first with converting your code to extensions, because that needs to be done before 2023 to avoid fees, and then convert your code into cloud optimized code before 2024, because the fees will start a year later. Need help? We are here to help you. Please reach out to your PSM. And for now, I would like to invite you, if you really want to know more about this urgent topic, we will host a dedicated webinar on the Universal Code Initiative with way more details. Also, people from Microsoft involved for Q&A. This webinar is on March 3rd, so next week, 1 p.m. And the invite for this dedicated webinar around the Universal Code Initiative will be sent out today. So please keep an eye out for that. And with that, I would like to hand it over to Chris.
Thank you, William, and good afternoon, everybody. Time for my slot here. I'm Chris Parks. I help out at Companion by looking after the Power Platform partners, those from what was traditionally the CRM side of the fence. My background was long-term Microsoft. I've been helping out at Companion for several years now. There's only 2 quick updates from me this month around Microsoft in this area. If you want more in-depth details of the wave updates for Dynamics 365 Sales, Customer Service, Power Platform, please tune in to the alternative webcast that we run here dedicated for Power Platform as a special interest group, contact your partner success manager or your primary companion representative separately for details on how to register for that webcast. The two things that I would like to highlight this month, one is the Gartner Magic Quadrant for Salesforce automation, and also the addition of AI builder credits to various SKUs outside of Business Central in Power Platform and in other areas. So to begin with, the Gartner Magic Quadrant for Salesforce automation, that's for the 11th year in a row, Microsoft is included. So why is this news? Why does this have relevance to partners anymore? I mean, it's a given, right? Every year this comes out from Gartner. Every year Microsoft and Salesforce are in the leaders category. So what changes? I think the thing here for me, those that have insight into this report long term, you do see kind of new old vendors drop out, new vendors appear. And if you've been working in selling kind of sales solutions around lead and pipeline management, you probably will have heard of HubSpot. HubSpot make an entry this year in the niche player and doing very well in that sort of niche players grid. Now their Salesforce automation product is called Sales Hub. What's particularly interesting about it is that it targets SMB. So it targets the small, the mid-sized business where Power Platform and a lot of the partners who position Business Central kind of sell their solutions into. HubSpot's positioned as a freemium compete solution. By freemium, I mean you can get started for free, then you can add functionality and you can add cost as things go along there. So the reason why I'm kind of showing this and explaining it is that if you're all looking to encourage your customers to adopt the Microsoft ecosystem as a whole, how do you effectively position the Microsoft platform against such competition? One of the things I get asked for a lot, I used to get asked a lot at Microsoft, I still do, is working with Companion. It's for things known as battle cards, or information that can be used to compare vendors for and against each other, strengths, weaknesses, like-for-like comparisons. And whilst it's not as in-depth as a technical comparison battle card, this Gartner Magic Quadrant is an ideal starting place for salespeople to understand what else is out there, even if you only use it on a deal-by-deal basis as a reference as to how to position and how to compete. So for each of the vendors listed, there's market perceived strengths and weaknesses, and if they're not listed and you're competing against them, then, you know, of course, that's the primary argument. They're not even on the industry radar. But if we think specifically for, if we take HubSpot specifically as the example, and the cautions against here, HubSpot's quite a it's quite a complete product, Sales Hub, Marketing Hub, and Service Hub. But if you look at the cautions that Gartner advise against it, it lists data synchronization as one of those, and accounts and contacts can't be extended. So there's a significant risk of data duplication. It talks about how it's lacking in customization options in general. And then the market understanding and how it doesn't integrate well with other systems. So it doesn't play well with non-HubSpot technologies. Now it's based on an entirely HubSpot ecosystem. That doesn't then lend well to integration with Business Central either. And this is exactly where Power Platform, the Dataverse, the synchronized options that are included in the Microsoft proposition as a whole has its strength. So, and that's why I wanted to call this out, because if you are thinking about Power Platform and you are thinking about Dynamics 365 sales service, this Gartner Magic Quadrant can give you some real pointers on the competition that you may come across while selling into SMB, and HubSpot, Insight, the others in there are well worth kind of looking at the weaknesses for, in my opinion. I think the interesting thing also here, when you look at the Microsoft weaknesses, one is around sales execution. And it says there's a need to rely heavily on partners and resellers, not go direct. We all know in SMB, at the lower end of the market, with the skills and capabilities that we have as partners, then, you know, and the size of the ecosystem as a whole, that's definitely not a weakness, it's a strength. So you can also use it to counter kind of the arguments of weaknesses against Microsoft when it comes to positioning Microsoft as really as an enterprise player. So next up, this is something that arrived at the back end of last year. clearly labelled in the licensing guide, the inclusion of AI Builder credits in various product subscriptions other than the original capacity add-on per month. The original capacity add-on per month retailed at $500 local currency equivalent, and that gave you 1 million credits. I guess the big winner was finance, but obviously that's outside of the scope of what many of our Business Central partners deliver. And so it's the Power Apps credits that I thought were of most interest here. Let's say your customer, or you have 10 Power Apps per user licenses, then you'll get 5,000 AI Builder credits per month there per tenant. That's really kind of powerful. These do start to build. So if you've also got another 10 Power Apps per app, that's an additional 2,500. So it'd be, you know, in the instance of a 10 plus 10 there, you'd be 7,500 in total. So every Power Apps per app gets you 250 credits. Every Power Apps per user gets you 500 credits. I'm not suggesting by any means that this is enough to let robots process your invoices or your customers' invoices as a whole in one go. And by robots, I mean in the non-physical form. It's AI functionality that's running in customer environments. There's a really good video out there from the Microsoft Power kind of Power Platform team around let robots process your invoices, that explains how it can take the visual representation, it can identify the totals, the line items, and everything else that's on there, the customer, quite powerfully. You can also train models. So, you know, 500 Power Apps per user, 250 Power Apps per app, that's not going to be enough unless there's a significant number of users within an organization running those that get the credits to perhaps handle it. So there's a definite sort of difference in positioning here from Microsoft about the people who are starting to maybe try it out and those that need the capacity add-on at $500 a month. But the cost really before was a limiting factor for you to even start to investigate this with your customers. Hey, Mr. Customer, you want to think about AI Builder and how we could potentially help you automate invoice processing or purchase order processing, whatever the solution is. After 30 days, you're going to get charged minimum $500 a month. Now, at least you have a way to potentially start to set this up for certain suppliers, certain vendors, for example, and just train a model with credits that might already be included in licenses that they already have. So that's the reason why I thought this AI Builder credits was something that was worth mentioning. We know that Microsoft are making a big kind of play here. We know that it has relevance to the future. But that was the reason for mentioning it, is that some of your customers may already have these licenses, may already have now AI Builder credits, and I think there's a sales opportunity or opportunity to have a conversation with them there around what this means. And of course, having those types of conversations with our customers is always a good thing. So those are the two things for me from this month. Unless there is anything, Ruben, you see in the question and answer window or things for us to handle, I will hand back to you, and I think we will put a wrap on it there today.
Okay, no questions. Well, thank you very much, William and Chris, for your excellent session. And of course, thanks to all those who has been able to attend, and also to those who will watch the recording on demand, as William has explained before. Just to let you know that this session has been recorded and will be sent to all those who have been registered, along with William and Chris' own presentations, in case you missed it, or if you want to watch it again in more detail. So in closing, we hope that you found it useful, and we'll look forward to see you in the next session on the 31st of March. Have a great day.